This is now the video for practice set 2, and I have my trusty Excel sheet open here again, and I will post these answers from this Excel sheet. I'll post this Excel sheet as well, so you have the answers. All right, so this is the practice set 2. Shouldn't be that more complicated. All right, so let us begin. So number 1, does the code below have an error? If so, fix it. Get symbols SPY, ADX. Yes, number 1 does have an error. What's the error? Remember, when get symbols is called, what's the data container created? It is SPY, all caps. This will not work. X equals will not work. What is missing? What is missing is, if you want to do it this way, is you have to put in, put the right quotes in, auto assign equals false. All right, and then it'll work. Or if you wanted to, you can just change line 2 and have that be AD SPY. So one or the other will make this code, these lines of code work. Either change X to be properly a data container, to be a proper data container using the auto assign equals F, or you simply use the data container SPY correctly. Number 2. Number 2, does the code have an error below? If so, fix it. Here now, we're getting symbols SPY from these two date ranges. And here now, so there's not really an error per se, but we're not using this correctly. Because what happens here is I'm creating the SPY data container from 2001 to 2005. And then here I'm filtering just for 2000 dates. That won't work because I don't have 2000 dates because I filtered it from 2001. So this is also a relatively easy fix. Let me copy this. Right? And here now, this will just, all I have to do is come here, change this to 2000. Just increase the range. Just increase the range. And this should work now. Hopefully you guys will see it. If you don't see it in the screen because it's kind of light, you'll see it when you actually open up the sheet. Number 3, does the code below have an error? If so, fix it. So here, I'm taking from 2001 to 2005. Excellent. Here, I'm selecting a date, particular row, particular column, and I'm multiplying by 8. Where's the error? The error is here in this line. I take this, okay, increase the font of that too so you guys can see it better. Right, so where's the error? Remember, when you're doing your date filtering, they must be in quotes. That was the problem. It wasn't properly in quotes. This part right here, multiply whatever this price is. Remember, this is going to give you, this is one particular date, and the comma 6 is you're doing the grid style slicing, so you're getting the adjusted close column. So this is going to give you pretty much the one day's price, if it exists. You multiply by that 8. Some of you guys are saying, oh, you're multiplying that by 8, you'll get an error. No, you saw us in lab 2 how we could do the math with the XTS, the results of one cell of the XTS table. The output will just be an XTS table. It won't give us an error. It'll literally just do the math data. It'll do vector mathematics on that data container, right? So this itself won't give an error. It'll just, the result will be back as an XTS data table. So this is basically the solution. Multiplying it by any kind of math or 8 is actually irrelevant. Number 4. Yes, yeah. Here now. All right, here. This gets a little crazy now. I give you this table, which is supposed to be a snapshot. All right, I give you this table, which is supposed to be basically a snapshot of some sort of SPY. And then here, I ask you to slice and dice SPY. So if there's any kind of mistakes here or confusion, this is where it'll be. So we have this crazy, I'm going to copy this crazy thing going on here. And I'm going to copy it, I'm going to put it here. Slide this over here a little bit. All right. So what we want to do is, look, there's a lot going on here. We want to simplify this and minimize it. We want to go inside out, inside out. All right. What do I mean by inside out? Find that inner data container and go from there. So here I can see SPY here with the open bracket and close bracket. So here I have my inner data container, and over here I have an inner data container. All right. So let's do this. Let's simplify this. Let's choose the first one, and then we'll minimize the second one. Okay. So let us start with this SPY. So this SPY, the first one, SPY 2001-01, open bracket 2001-01, comma 6, close bracket. So that's what I need. Excellent. Okay, so this is saying go to 2001-01, which is basically all these rows. That doesn't help us. But comma 6. Fantastic. Comma 6 is basically the adjusted close column. So now, why can't I scroll over? There we go. There we go. This column. It's basically taking all these values right here, and that is what's being highlighted here. But all these values are being passed into what? What comes next? So this, whatever is highlighted in blue, is being replaced by all these values. So what comes next? What comes next is whatever's highlighted in blue is now passed to the first function. It's now passed to the first function. And notice how the first function is working. We have the first function, open parenthesis. Where's the close parenthesis? The close parenthesis is not right here. It's here. Why is it not there? Because there's a comma 1. There's a second parameter in the first function. Remember, we could use just the first function with just the data container, or we could use it with an additional parameter. That additional parameter is basically telling you how many rows we want. In this case, it's telling us we're saying comma 1, just the first row, which we didn't need to do because by default, the first function takes only one row, and the tail function, the last function takes only one row. So this is redundant, but nevertheless, we'll go with it. So these sets of data, this whole column of data is being passed into the first function, comma 1. What's going to happen? It's taking the first value out of that column. So what happens is, now let's simplify it. All right, so we did our first simplification. Copy this, move it down. So the first, right here, from here to here, close parentheses, that basically just takes our first value, which is 8. And look how simpler that becomes. What is as.vector? Remember, as.vector, 8 actually will come back as an XTS table. So as.vector pretty much converts a number just into a simple vector. So that 8 is still going to be an 8. So I can literally just do copy and paste right here again. Get the as.vector part, the as.vector part out. And so this part has become 8. Excellent. And 8 is now dividing into something, dividing something. All right, so let's now look into here, and we can see another data container right there. Excellent. We see another data container. All right, so what's in that data container? So now we have open bracket and simply a closed bracket. No additional columns we're selecting. So SPY 2001-01 here, again, is selecting this whole table. This whole table is being selected. Okay, excellent. This whole table is now being passed into what? It's being passed into the low function. Remember the low function? What does the low function do, guys? Open parenthesis right there, close parenthesis right here. So therefore, the low function, this whole table is passing into the low function, and the low function is going to simply pull in the low column. So the low column, all these numbers right here. So here now, this becomes, ladies and gentlemen, this column. What I highlighted in blue becomes these values right here, 2284, 2264. It becomes all these values right here. This column of values is being passed into the last function. Open parenthesis. Again, we have the comma 1 close parenthesis, which again was redundant. We didn't need that. Right? It was redundant. We didn't need that, but nevertheless, it's there. So this whole column, the low column, is being passed to the last function, comma 1. So now we can make our move. Last, comma 1, this is gone. And this is going to be replaced by the last one value of low, which is 4, passed in as dot vector. So this basically becomes, this is simply just 8 divided by 4. And your answer, ladies and gentlemen, oh, damn Excel, becomes 8 divided by 4, and your answer is simply going to be 2. And that is your answer for that one. It's kind of long and convoluted, right? But it is actually quite simple. There's just a lot going on there. Just like how we were doing it with our lab 2, getting the prices for certain periods in time. It's basically the same concept all over again. Same concept all over again, but we're doing some math along with it. That's probably the only part that throws everybody off. We're doing some math along with it while we're doing the simplification. Number 5. All right, what's going on with number 5? Is number 5 going to be easier? Oh, sum. I introduced you guys to the sum function. Excellent. What does the sum function do? It does exactly what it says. But let's go inside out again. Let's go inside out. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Oops. All right. So from here, guys, what we want to do now is we want to select go inside out. Where's our inner data container? FPY 2001. Again, that's the whole table. Doesn't help us. This whole table is being passed into AD. Ah, okay. The adjusted close column. So this adjusted close column is being passed into, I'm sorry, this whole table is being passed to adjusted close column, which gives you this column. This column is now all being passed into, look, the open parenthesis, close parenthesis right there, the sum function. So what ends up happening? You're summing the whole column of data. Sorry about this. So the answer here is going to be 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 8 is 18, 18 plus 4 is 22, 32, 34, 38, 42, 48, 50, 58, 66, 76. Hopefully that's the number you got. Let me redo the math to make sure that's what I got. And that indeed looks like it's 76. Perfect. All right, so from here, that is number 5. Number 6. Here we have some additional thing going on. All right, let me grab this. Let's simplify this as well. So now, look, we have the 5 plus something. That's easy. What's the something? Let's break that down. Again, here is my SPY data container. Here's my open bracket. There's my close bracket. Okay? So it looks like I'm filtering for a particular date now, and I'm taking a particular column. And that's being passed with an as that vector. So again, remember, we're going to, because I'm choosing a particular date and a particular column, this is going to be a single value that'll still come back as XTS table, and this will be converted into a vector. So let's do that. All right, I come all the way here. Here's 2014. Oh no, look, there is no 2001-14. What will happen? Right, there is no 2001-14. Therefore, this whole thing will become null. As that vector will give me a null value. 5 plus a null will give me a null. So the answer here could be null or NA. All right, because there's no value here, guys. 5 plus an NA is going to give me an NA, pretty much. Right? So that's pretty much the answer. So you could put the answer in the in the exam situation. You could be like, oh, it's an error, or it's going to give you NA or null. There's no value for as dot vector, right? So any one of those will suffice. So that's basically the answer for number 6. Number 7. Let me save that. So number 7, Again, we have a lot of stuff going on here. Let me copy and paste this. Alrighty, from here, guys. SPY is the data container. Open bracket. Now I must find the close bracket. I keep going till I find the close bracket. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Got my close bracket. Oh boy, got a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, let's see this. So we see the comma there. All right, so we got the rows and the columns. So it looks like we're taking the adjusted close column, number comma 6. Fair enough. To the left of the comma is the rows we're selecting. All right, we got a little date slicing going on here. 2001-01 gives me what? 2001-01 gives me, I'm slicing for all this data right here, all the dates. Fine, all the 2001-01, so this will be all the rows. Fantastic. Slash 2001-01-14. Okay. So what's happening here is we're saying all the month of January 1st, January 2001, up to and including the 14th. So basically it's taking all the month, but up to the 14th. I come here, there is no 14th, but that's okay, right? We know from the previous question there is no 14th, but that's okay because now we're taking not one particular date, but we're taking a range. And we're taking it from the beginning all the way to the 14th. There is no 14th, so it's just going to take all the dates that are in between. So it's going to take from the 2nd all the way to the 12th. From the 2nd all the way to the 12th, right? Just the adjusted close column. So I come here. Now I'm going to have to make this bigger, right? So it's taking it from here to here, but just the adjusted close. So it'll be just these values. Sorry. There you go. Up to there, the 6th. 8, 2, 8, 4, 10, 2, 4, 4, 6. You see that? But we're not done. Those list of columns are being passed into, here we go again, the last function. The last function. Open parenthesis, comma, 1, close parenthesis. Again, we're putting that 1, comma 1 in there. We didn't need it because explicitly it's always going to be 1 unless we put a different number in there, which is fine again. So those columns, these values right here, 8, 2, 8, 4, 10, 2, 4, 4, 6, is being passed into the last function. What ends up happening? The last function gives us the value 6, right? So out of these values, the last value is what? It's 6. So this becomes now six, which is obviously 5 plus 6. So therefore the answer is 11. So 7 becomes 11. Number 8, what is all right? So again, we have to do SPY, open bracket, close bracket. 2001 is going to be all this data right here again. That's being passed into the AD function. So we're saying, okay, all the rows, but just this adjusted close column. All right. That is being passed. So this now becomes just this column, all the rows. So all those column of values is being now passed into, again, the last function again. Open parenthesis, close parentheses there. Just the last value. So that's going to give me the number 10. That's being passed into as.vector. So here, this is pretty straightforward. This just gives me the number 10. All right, and that's my answer. My answer is number 10. And finally, number 9. All right, I have a couple of math questions here for you guys. If you buy a share of SPY at the closing price of 2001.018, right, and sell it at 2001.0116 at the closing price. So you buy it at the closing price on this date, and you sell it at the closing price at this date. At this date, right there, 2001.016, will be your return. What is my formula for return again, guys? Return equals sell divided by buy minus 1. All right, so what is my buy price? My buy price is, first of all, let's start with the sell price. Sell price is the closing price of 16. The closing price at 16 is $2. What is my buy price? My buy price is the closing price at 2001.018. Closing price here is $10. Excellent. All right, so that's I bought it at $10, sold it at $2, minus 1. It gives me, oh, come on. Equals, let me put it in quotes, 2 divided by 10 minus 1, right? And to solve this is going to be 2 divided by 10 minus 1. Oops. Gives me a negative 80%, guys. Negative 0.8 is negative 80%, right? So what was my return? It was negative 80%, guys. That was my answer, negative 80%. All right, and in that same vein, number 10, okay, if I bought $100 of SPY on 2001.01.02, all right, so I bought it at what price? I buy at 2001.02 lowest price, which is $2. So buy at $2 and sell it at the closing price on 2001.017. So my closing price is $8, 2001.017. $8, sell it at $8. All right, now what will be the final value of my investment? Notice the question here. What is the final value of my investment? I'm not asking for the return. I'm not asking for the profit I made. I am just simply asking for the final value of my investment, okay? And the final value of my investment will be, right, basically 100 times my return, whatever my return is. What is my return going to be, guys? Right, this is just like lab 2. It's basically going to be 8 divided by 2 minus 1. Again with this. Minus 1, that'll be my return. And so this basically comes out to 300%, right? It'll basically be 300%. Sorry, I did this wrong. Excellent. So what will be my final value? Well, what is my return right now? My return is going to be 3, which is 300%. So if I were to plug this in, I get what? I'm going to get 400. So the final value of my portfolio, the final value of my investment, I'm not asking for the return. I'm not asking for the compound return. I'm not asking for the profit or loss. I'm simply asking, what's my final value? It's 400 bucks. And that is the final answer. All right. So this ends practice set 2, and you guys will pretty much have all the materials now ready for your first midterm. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next Q&A/video sessions.